Afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another highlight interview. And today, stay tuned because we have a very special guest who has accomplished the impossible in the agency space. Okay, he scaled his agency from 0 to 100K per month in revenue, and he's under 21, right?
Yep, I just turned 20.
Oh, he just turned 20. Wow. That's even more impressive because most agency owners, 90% of agency owners never hit more than 20K per month, let alone 100K per month. That's the 7-figure run rate. And Jared Curry did it under 21. So he can't drink a beer legally. He's the owner of a 7-figure agency. How awesome is that?
Well, if I go to Mexico or Colombia, which I'm about to travel to in a few days, I can't. So
yeah, in South America, here in Peru, 18 is and I think that's how it should be, right? This 21 seems ridiculous.
Yeah, right. I can manage an entire team of 20.
You can manage a shotgun and ammo.
Exactly.
You can't drink a beer, anyways.
Right.
How's your day, man? How's your week going? Your month?
I'm doing great. First off, thank you so much, Christian, for having me. Massive shout out to you guys and what you're doing at Fava, and massive shout out to Amir as well. Super excited to be talking to everyone. If you guys are listening right now, my goal on this call, it is okay if I start off with a story, Christian?
Go ahead.
Perfect. Well, I always like to tell this story, and there's this man and he's walking down the street. He's in New York and he falls because New York streets, it's just a mess. And he falls into this hole and he's stuck there. And then there's another person that walks along, and the person that walks along is actually a doctor. And the guy in the hole shouts up, "Hey, you, can you help me out? I'm stuck in the hole." The doctor writes out a prescription and throws it down the hole. Then another random person just walks along and he says, "Hey, you, can you help me out in the hole? I'm down in the hole. Can you help me out?" The guy just walks. He's a New Yorker, so he's a little rude. So he just walks away, doesn't even focus on him. And then next, what happens is a priest comes along, and the guy in the hole shouts up, "Father, I'm stuck in the hole. Can you help me out?" The father writes out a prayer and throws it down in the hole. And then last but not least, one of his friends, his name was John actually, and he says, "Hey, John, I'm stuck in the hole. Can you help me out?" You know what the friend does? For everyone out there listening, get this. He jumps in the hole, and then the person in the hole, our guy, says, "John, are you stupid? Now we're both down here." And John, the friend who jumped in the hole, said, "Yeah, but I've been down here before and I know the way out." So for everyone on here listening right now, I'm here to tell you that I've been in the hole. I know the way out. And my goal at the end of this interview is to hopefully have jumped into the hole with you and show you the way, because I know the way. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, that story was golden. And I'm sure, well, it was fire. And I feel like no, you can bring anyone out of the hole, no matter how deep the hole is, right?
Yep.
You've been there. Yeah. So, tell us, man, how you got started into the agency space, into entrepreneurship in general. What got you there, and then what got you into the hole?
100%, man. So I read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. The book changed my life. And once reading that book, I got one key takeaway. And that was the rich don't work for money. They have money work for them. And I realized that school was a scam. Get this, guys, I was in high school still. I was in high school when I started my agency. So throughout the day, instead of, being in my classes, I was in the bathroom cold calling for my agency, right? That's what I was doing. And I started when I was 16 years old. So I read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I said, you know what? I want to start a business. So I went ahead and I bought a vending machine. And I thought, hey, passive income, this is going to be a great investment. It didn't work out. I was in the hole. I lost $4,000 back then. I had no money. That was a lot of money for me. And it just wasn't that effective. Right?
May I ask, why did the vending machine didn't work?
The vending machine didn't work because the return on investments were too slim, right? It would have taken me about 3 years just to break even, just because of the cost of the machine, cost of goods, because I didn't understand one concept, and that was OPM. If I would have leveraged OPM, then it would have been a great investment, right? Because I would have been able to get a return on investment right away. And I'm going to be talking about that later on. But that's why the vending machine didn't work. But you know what? I learned from that, and I took that failure as a learning lesson. I said, you know what? I can do this better next time. I can fit. This is great because I've learned so many great things. I've learned how to talk to people. I learned about how to use OPM, which is one of the ways I scaled my agency, which I'm going to talk about in a second. And I found this online course one day, and I was just scrolling through YouTube, and my friend sent me this course, and he saw it, and then I watched it as well. It was a webinar. These were back in the days when they had the automated webinars. Everyone was pitching 97 courses, and we found this one guy. It was between two people. It was between Iman Gaji and Billy Wilson, and we watched both their webinars. And I was like, you know what? For some reason, I want to go with Billy Wilson, and we bought Billy Wilson's program. It was actually less than $997 back then. Now it's a lot more, but back then it was like less than $997. It was a lot of money. I had to use OPM, right? Because I learned from the vending machine. I used OPM from my dad to buy the course, and it took us about 3 months before I think we got our first paying client, and then that client literally left a month after that. And then it took us another basically straight year. My partner eventually had left. It wasn't for him, and I was just grinding right in the bathroom.
May I ask what year was this?
Yeah, dang man, I was a junior in high school, so this was, I believe, 2017, 2018, I believe.
Okay, so if I mind asking, you're talking about passive income, so as we have both learned, and they sell you the dream, but yeah, you get to 10K fast, but the agency, whenever you're below 50K, it's not very passive. Like, you're grinding, you're cold calling, you're sending cold emails, you have 5 hats in one.
You're
right?
in it.
Account manager, cold caller, appointment setter, closer, ads manager. So why picking the agency model, which is for me one of the least passive out there, because it's very hands-on?
That's a great question. So what I realized is that everyone needs a stepping stone. I was trying to get to level 10 when I was still stuck on level 2. So I was trying to get to Robert Kiyosaki's level right away, but then I quickly realized that's not going to happen. It requires a lot of work. It requires a lot of patience. And I needed a stepping stone to get that next level. I needed something that could help me generate enough revenue so I can invest in passive income. This year, we're going to be investing in real estate for the first time. I'm super excited because I'm finally hitting my goal. Nice. And it's the perfect example of, like, if you just, keep pushing, eventually you will achieve your target. And I think Omir is a great example of that, because he taught me the art of follow-up, right? Follow up, keep pushing, and eventually you will have success. So that's why we chose the agency, because it's a stepping stone to accomplish what we wanted to accomplish.
Gotcha. Nice. So yeah, so we're talking about is to get to passive income, like, you're not going to get to Robert Kiyosaki level with the agency, but it's a stepping stone, a springboard to get to the next level, right?
Yep, 100%.
Okay. Amazing, man. So let's get a little more specific. I know you went from 0 to around 20K pretty kind of, not, I don't want to say smoothly, because always there are bumps in the road, but you did it in pretty good time, and then COVID hit, right? So what happened then?
Yeah, so we actually got to 0 to 15K. It wasn't 20, it was 0 to 15K. We did it, and it seems like an overnight success, but remember, we had the whole year straight of just hard work. It was complicated, no sales. We had like 1 sale, and that was it. And then in 3 months, we were able to start generating sales, after that year. It took 3 months. This was my senior year in high school. Yeah. 3 months, we hit the 6-figure run rate. Then we got up to 15K, right? And then a few months after that, COVID hit, and everything just went boom.
Okay, so if I mind doing a clarification here to everyone who's watching. So a lot of people, and that was me when I was watching like these interviews with you guys, I was like, wow, this guy hit 0 to 15K in just 6 months. Wow, that's amazing. But what people don't see is the bottom of the iceberg. Like, you had a failed business, the vending machine, like 2 years before, and then for a whole year, you didn't have, you had like 2 clients, right? Around that.
1 client, yep.
1 client in a year. So that means it actually took you 3 years to get to 15K. Am I right?
Yeah.
Right. Gotcha. Oh, gotcha. So yeah, COVID hit, and how was the experience? What happened then?
So when COVID hit, we lost all of our clients in the span of about a week, right? I try not to relive it as often as I can, but we lost all of our clients, and we didn't know what to do. I was literally, my entire family had COVID at the time, so I was literally in quarantine, and I was just sitting on the couch for about a month straight, and very confused, very lost. This was my senior year in high school. I was supposed to be graduating, and I said I wasn't going to college because I didn't need it because I was making enough money. But now I wasn't making any money. So I'm like, what do I do? So about a month straight. And then eventually I said, you know what? Just like Robert Kiyosaki says, invest, learn. Oh, wait, there's an echo. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, sorry. So like Robert Kiyosaki says, invest to learn, right? So I decided to take an investment, a massive leap into a $10,000 program. And that program basically gave me the blueprint I needed. And I said, you know what? I always wanted to start an e-com agency because I think this is pretty cool. And I didn't think I was going to have all the issues with, retention, clients complaining about bad leads. The grass is always greener on the other side. And then I quickly learned e-com wasn't the best choice, but I went all in on it. And in 0 to 8 months, we were able to take our e-com agency to $100,000 a month. And then I tried to automate it. And then we'll talk about that in a second, but I'll leave this time for a break.
Okay, awesome, man. So basically, may I ask, I think I know the answer, but it was 7-Figure Agency by Joel Kaplan, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and okay, this is not a plug about him, but honestly, it has worked for a lot of people. It has worked for a lot of people. It's definitely a program that teaches you from like 0 to 100K because Joel has done it. Many of his students have done it. And I want you to stop here, and I'm going to record this because I want to post an Instagram story. Please, can you say loud and clear for everyone at the back? Okay, college, you think, and I agree with this, college is a scam and online courses are better. I agree. Please say it.
College is a scam, right? Education does not end when you graduate college. It starts when you graduate college. So why are you going to waste that extra time? And why don't you just start your education now? And that's why I decided not to go to college in the first place. Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. And that is why I didn't choose to go to college, because I knew that I would be a lifelong learner and that I would have to commit myself to consistently educating myself, buying programs, and figure out how to get out of the rat race that so many people are in.
Amazing. Love it, man. And I'm with you in there. I went to college because I didn't know that other route. I hadn't discovered online courses back then, but then I discovered online courses and I say, okay, I need to start doing this as soon as possible and get out of college as fast. So what I did is I graduated college in 3 years. So I did as fast as I could. I literally rushed and maxed out my course load, and I sacrificed quality for quantity, which for me made sense. I'd rather graduate with a 3 GPA in 3 years than with 4 in 4 years. And I also started my agency when I was in college, and I was cold calling in some classrooms when it was like break and the teachers were not there. So I really relate to that. And I'm with you. And man, it's so amazing that you're going to do a TED Talk, because you already did a TEDx, right?
No, it's coming up in October.
Is that going to be the TEDx or like a TED?
TEDx.
TEDx. Oh, gotcha. I mean, any of those are amazing. Where is it going to be, by the way?
It's going to be at the Cape May Convention Center.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have to think for a second.
So can you give a little more detail on what the stepping stones were from 0 to 100K? Because that's a long road for many people, and you did in 8 months. So it's like record time.
First thing is mindset, man. Just like Joel teaches, if you want to become a 7-figure if you want to become a 7-figure business owner, you have to first become a 7-figure human being. And because, people say I did it in 0 to 8 months. Well, no, then we have to look back. How much time did it take for me to build my other agency? That just gave me, it taught me so much, and I was able to reapply it. And that's why we were able to build our new agency to basically 150K in just 3 months. And I'm going to talk about that later on, because that's our new agency. Yeah. And it's just because we had all this other time and all these other agencies where we learned, we made mistakes. And I always say this to a lot of my students too, is the goal to starting a marketing agency or any business, your first business, is to fail. It is not to make money. It is not to travel. It is not to live the lifestyle that you dream of, right? Your goal is to fail so that you can learn.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I see a lot of people are worried because they, some agency owners, most agency owners, they can't pay themselves, so obviously they can't reinvest in real estate, so they can't do the things that they were supposed to when they started into entrepreneurship. But it's a stepping stone, right? It's like it's one of the pieces of the puzzle that you have to put there.
Yeah, 100%.
So after mindset, I know you definitely had prospecting dialed down. What are the next steps then?
Right. So the biggest thing is, like you said, appointments. Get appointments, as many as you can, and then we were closing them. And it's all about innovation. How can I figure out how to squeeze the juice, how to leverage OPT, other people's time, with a smaller budget than some of these other agencies, right? Team is a big thing. And at the time, I had to build a bigger team because we were closing so many deals. But at the same time, I had to keep investing into prospecting. So we were figuring out how to actually leverage OPT, other people's time, making it as affordable as possible, using VAs, things like that. And once that happened, then it was all about managing the team, empowering the team. And then at that point, it was about making sure that the team could lead and manage the organization without me being in it, right? I really wanted to step out of the agency. I wanted to automate it. I did not want to manage it. I did not want to be in the day-to-day. It was stressful. If you're listening, you're probably an agency owner that it might be stressed right now, and it's tough. And I had to get out as quickly as possible. That was actually a mistake, but I learned a lot from that. And that's why we've been able to scale our new agency so quickly.
Gotcha. So once you get a lot of appointments, do you recommend doing a lot of organic in the beginning, or going all in with paid ads, like Joel says, in the beginning, like from day one, and crack the code, even if you go in the red for some months?
You know what? I think it really depends. I'm a believer in one outreach channel. The man who chases two rabbits catches none. You're just getting started off, one outreach channel. In the beginning, I'm not going to tell anyone what to do because it's very situational. I can't just give vague advice like that. But what I will say is this: if I was starting off from the beginning, I would do free trials, and I would cold call. I would cold call to get free trials, and that if I didn't have any money, right? If I had money, I would put it in paid ads. But if I didn't have money, I would cold call, get free trials, convert those free trials, invest that money into paid ads to get more free trials, and then convert those free trials, and then invest more into paid ads to just get paying clients. And that's what I would do if I was starting off, and that's how I would fill up my calendar. So I think it's very situational. For me, if you have no money, like no money at all, then I'm going to go ahead and cold call and do organic. But if I do have money that I can invest, and if I lose it, it's okay, then I'm going to invest in paid ads as quickly as I can.
Amazing.
But there's a difference between, and just for everyone listening, there's a difference between not having the money and being scared to invest the money. There's a big difference between the two.
Yeah. And I know you mentioned a little bit about other people's money. So at what point do you leverage other people's money, or at what point do you just, keep making sales and keep growing the company with ideally no funding? Like what's the balance there?
So COVID had a lot of bad things, but COVID also had a lot of great things. The government was giving free money away. So basically free money. So we got an EIDL loan from the government. It was $11,000, and it was a 30-year term with I think 1 or 2% fixed interest. So it was essentially free money that we didn't have to pay back for we were paying over a course of 30 years. So you can imagine our monthly payments on $11,000 principal. It's nothing. And the interest is nothing. So we leveraged OPM as soon as we could, and as soon as it made sense for us. Because we did it when we realized that we already understood ads, we already understood sales, we knew how to get appointments, we were consistent, we had a decent close rate. We knew that if we were going to use OPM, that it was going to just help us grow our business exponentially. And that's why we took our agency, when the e-com agency, I think we took it up from 10 to 15K a month to 50K within a 30-day period just by investing into ads.
Gotcha. So you don't recommend using OPM when you're starting, when you have no offer, no appointments cracked?
I think that's a personal decision. If it was me, if I didn't have any of the information I had now, I personally wouldn't, because I don't think you need to. I think you're putting yourself in a riskier situation when you don't need to do that, and you really just need to grind, cold call, do what you need to do, cold email, invest $20 a day into ads if you can afford that. But I wouldn't leverage OPM from the beginning.
Okay, that's amazing to know, man. So, and what was the turning point, or the tipping point that took you from the six figures, from the high six figures to actually 100K? That's a point where a lot of agency owners get stuck. It's when they're past 20K, 30K, but they can't really get to the 100, to 7 figures.
Yeah, so that's the problem. The reason why a lot of agency owners struggle with that is because getting from 0 to 30K, 0 to 40K, typically it's them and maybe a VA or two, but typically they're the ones doing everything. And they can't get out of the mindset of that they are supposed to be working on the business rather than in the business, and they need to bring on a team. So once I started bringing on a sales team, we were able to scale significantly quicker because I was leveraging OPT, right? Everyone talks about OPM, but what about OPT? Other people's time. And I was leveraging other people's time, and we were able to scale so much quicker, right? Imagine it's just like this. If you're pulling a sled with luggage on it, right? Would you get to your destination? Let's say you had to travel from New York all the way to California. Would you get to your destination quicker if it was just you? Or would you get to your destination quicker if you had 10 and 15 people on your team? Answer is simple.
The latter.
So, I looked at it.
Yeah. Yeah. So you said that you automated your agency very fast and that you think it was a mistake, right?
Yeah. In hindsight's 2020, right? So I wouldn't say it's actually a mistake. And I'm so happy I made that mistake because I learned so much from it. Yeah. It was really it wasn't a mistake. It was just a learning lesson. Yeah. I automated the agency. Literally, I had 2 people come in and I was like, hey, you guys, I'm going to give you a profit share. You guys are going to manage everything and run with it. The problem with that is you can't just go ahead and give an agency to someone and expect them to run it, because you have to have that mindset, right? You can't automate your job if the person who's going to take over your job responsibilities as the chief executive officer in your agency, they can't do that if they are not a 7-figure human being themselves. And I think that's where the problem was. And I think a much better approach would have been to exit at where I was at personally with that agency. I was also in an e-com agency where things aren't as copy and paste. It requires a little bit more creativity, a little bit more higher level thinking. So if I had to do it all over again, I would just exit the agency.
Exit and sell it.
Sell it. Yep. Sell it right then and there. At the peak of when our agency was at 100K, I would have sold it. I should have.
Right.
I didn't want to manage it anymore. So a lot of people, if they don't want to manage their agency, they're very stressed. They're going to try to offload it as quickly as possible. Rather than try to automate it and do that, you have to ask yourself, what are your goals? What do you actually want? Sell the agency. If you're saying my mental state not handle this anymore, and you can't handle the stress of running an agency, and if you're in the agency managing it for the next 3 months, your revenue is actually going to go down, then you need to sell it.
And may I ask, like, if you have 100K per month agency, what's a multiple? What's a healthy multiple that you can sell it for?
Yeah, and that's, everyone always asks me that question. It really depends. How long have you been in business? What type of clients do you have? Your retention, your churn rate? Do you have management in place, right? What's your cash resource looking like? How healthy is the business? So it really does depend. But if you're meeting all the criteria, 3 to 4, 2 on the low end, but 3 to 4. I would say 3 is average, I would say, multiplier of profit, of annual profit.
Okay, so can you expect like $1 million, $2 million reasonable or less? Or more?
If you're at $100,000 in your agency, your margins are, if you have a healthy agency, your margins are ideally 35%, but we'll say an average, it's about 30%, and I'm doing the math right now. So you're going to be making about $30,000 a month. Times 12 is about 360 grand, right? So if you're making 360 grand, you should be, and that's consistent, right? You've been doing that for 2, 3, 4 years, and you have tax returns to support that, then you should be able to sell the agency for about 3 times that amount. So $1 million, that's more than doable.
So what is it that you actually did? Because you said I should have sold it, but how did the events actually turn out?
So it was a profit share where they were managing the agency, and it was pretty much automated, and they were doing all the work, right? They were doing the heavy lifting. The way I would have done it now, in the way that we had it set up was essentially at the end, I technically did sell it, and I did exit because they did an owner financing. But instead of exiting for the company, they exited just the active clients we had. So now I just get a residual amount from the active clients we have, which is basically like owner financing, which is what I did with them. But if I had to start all over again, I would have just taken the lump sum from the beginning.
Yeah. Awesome. Amazing, man. And finally, I know this is pretty much what you wanted to talk more is how are you doing right now? How are you acquiring agencies and scaling them to 100K in 3 months? Like, how does that look like at the moment?
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm really excited to really dive into this because I think it's a great opportunity for anyone who has a successful agency already, number one. And then it's also a great opportunity for anyone who's scaling their agency and they're only at like 5, 10, 15K a month or 20K a month, right? What I've found is that a lot of people don't want to manage an agency. What I found is that a lot of people want the laptop lifestyle. They don't even care about investing. They don't even care about using it as a stepping stone. A lot of people never achieve that because they're pretty content. If you've ever met an agency owner at 20K, 30K, those are typically the agency owners that are stuck and they've hit that ceiling and they're like, wow, I've been here for like the past 12 months. I'm not making any progress. We lose a client, we gain a client. We lose a client, we gain a client. This fire happens, I put this out. It's just a hamster wheel, and it's the agency hamster wheel. And what I've determined is that most people, they don't really want the stress of managing with clients. They don't want to manage the business. They want they want the income, the life in the lifestyle that an agency may provide. They want to sit on the beach, closing deals, making money, and enjoy their life. So what a lot of people have really decided to do with their agencies. That's why they decided to actually open one, to start one. So I actually knew an agency owner that, to be honest with you, I didn't know if he actually wanted to manage his business. I saw there was so much more potential, and we partnered up, and it was a great decision. I said, hey, we'll actually basically scale your agency for you. We're going to take XYZ amount of equity. You're going to only have this amount of equity, but at the same time, you're also going to be able to do one thing and one thing only: close deals. Because that's all people want to do, really. They want to close deals so that they can make money, and they don't want to deal with all the other stress with it. If you're at 20 to 30K with your agency, you're good at closing deals, right? So we structured in a way where he can easily make 10K a month just by closing deals. And he has some equity in the agency still. So when we sell the agency, he's getting a percentage of that too. Plus he's making money from closing deals. And that's how we were able to acquire that agency. And we were able to just it was just a catalyst, right? So as soon as we came in, my partner Matt and I, like I said, in 0 to 3 months, we were able to take the agency from $18,000 to we did $147,000 last month in revenue, almost $150,000, and $83,000 in profit last month, just by acquiring his agency. In 3 months, and just by acquiring his agency. And we're doing that for other agencies as well. So if anyone's ever looking to sell, we'd love to talk to you. But the biggest thing with that, right, is that in 2 years or in a year, we're going to be able to exit. And that's where we're going to make our real money, when we exit the agency.
Right. So you're acquiring the agency when it's not at an exit level, and then ideally you're gonna have the work of flipping, and that's not gonna be the agency owner's job, right? The agency owner's job sells it to you, and then you take it to the next level, and then you exit for a high multiplier.
100%. We're basically doing fix and flips.
Nice, man.
Flipping agencies right now.
Have you read the book Built to Sell by John Warlow?
I have not read the book. I do need to read that though. It's on my reading.
Oh, but that's amazing that you've actually, I've read the book, but you've actually sold a business, right? So obviously you know much more than me about that part, but the author talks about exiting for a multiple of 12. Of 3 or 4, like he gives all the tips in the book to sell it for, I think it was a multiple. It was like 12 million. He sold his business for 12 million. And and it was an agency. It was way less scalable. It was like a logo agency. It was way less scalable than probably yours, but he talks about the tips, the secrets that he took it to sell it for a big multiple.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. So what are the 4 levers? Pretty much we're going to wrap up here. What are the 4 levers, or the 3 or 4 levers to take it from 18 to 150K, which is almost 10X in 3 months?
Yeah, very, very, very. I don't like the word simple. The process is simple. Doing the work is the hard part, right? So number 1, appointments. We injected a ton of cash into paid ads. Cool. That's it. Paid ads, sales team, and then we're building an amazing client success team so that we could actually retain the clients that we're getting. And then number 4 is management. Now we're getting management in place, so it's not even stressful, right? The agency that we own now, it's for realtors. I've never sold a realtor. in my life. But we're training our team on how to close them, and they're closing them. I've never personally ran a realtor's ads. I've never done any of this stuff. So having a team in place is key to actually doing this. And we've just brought on team members extremely fast that are that are extremely qualified, that we know will get the job done. We're not training people up. We're bringing people who are already experienced, and it's allowing us to move a lot quicker.
Gotcha. So you're bringing higher level people instead of you doing first and then you training. Correct?
Yeah, we're not doing any of it first. We brought in people from the get-go.
That's great. That's great to hear, man. So honestly, those have been, man, too many golden nuggets to process. I think I'm gonna be having a hard time to sleep tonight, thinking about so much, and I mean how little we've all accomplished, right? Like the people who are watching this interview, me including, I'm like, wow. I need to get in better shape entrepreneurial wise this 2022. But it's great because this is a motivator. It's a motivation for everyone who's watching to step up their game, right? If you're at that level that Jared is talking 10 to 20K, there's a next level, and it's your responsibility to get it there, right?
100%. And if you guys realize you don't actually want to manage an agency yourself, hit us up. We'll definitely talk about acquiring you.
Of course, man. And do you have like a link where people can hit you up for that or something like that?
I'm just a normal person, so reach out to me on Facebook or on Instagram at official Jared Curry, CURRYJARED, and then official. So official Jared Curry. I'm just a normal person. Hit me up there.
Okay. Amazing to hear. Everyone who's watching, thanks for watching. Thanks, Jared, for this interview. It has been too much fire. Like this room is burning. The flames are on fire. So thanks a lot.
Call 911
here. Do you have any more, like one tip, one piece of advice before we leave, or one quote, whatever?
Move faster, right? You don't need a New Year's resolution. You just need to move a lot faster. You need to keep doing what was working in the past, keep doing it. And if you haven't figured out what was working, move faster, right? Make mistakes quicker. Don't be afraid to fail and go as fast as you can. Money loves speed, guys. So you guys got this. If you need any help, feel free to reach out. Love to help you.
I love that last quote, man. Thanks for having you here. See you everyone next time. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.